Hey there, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Loony Bin. As usual, I am your host, Loon. And with the Steam library, a new series has been spawned. I'm not sure what I'll call it yet, but I'm sure that by the time this video gets posted, there will be a nice little tag somewhere up there. Okay. So, what's the idea? Well, Steam and the developers of games decide to go ahead and give us access to their games to check out. I will download those, I will play those, and then I will give you a general idea if these games are worth your time. Now, I say general idea because I'm not going to do full-blown reviews on these games. In some situations, these games are just in early development. Now, in some rare situations, I may actually criticize stuff pretty heavily, especially if I see DLC on an early access game. I will criticize stuff like that because, unfortunately, hey guys, if your game is still in beta and you've got early access stuff, yeah, that's really just crap. There's no nice way to say that. Well, there's actually, that is the nice way of saying it, because I have some other choice words that I'm not allowed to speak openly. Okay, enough with the rant. So, this series, I will download those games, and yes, I will play them, and I will say, hey guys, this is worth your time. So, what is the first game we're going to look at? It's called Killing Floor 2. Now, if you guys have played Unreal Tournament 2004, you may have heard of a full conversion mod called Killing Floor 1. Yes, Tripwire Interactive back in hell, I don't know when, sometime long ago in a server far away, Tripwire Interactive released this full conversion mod for the Unreal 2004. Now, fast forward however much time to 2015, Tripwire Interactive is giving us Killing Floor 2. What is it? In the simplest terms, Killing Floor 2 is a first-person shooter, horror, survival game. It has wave-based fighting very similar to that of the Left 4 Dead series. Is it worth your time to play? Well, we'll get to that. For right now, let's say this. I installed the game. It installed very smoothly. I modified the graphics myself, and then I went and looked at Shadowplay, and Shadowplay suggested some different stuff, and I did that, and I went from a solid 60 FPS to a solid 70 FPS. So on that note, it does seem like the game is optimized well to run on PC, even though it has been released on PlayStation 4, PC, and Linux. So yeah, that's a good thing. The only thing I'll bitch about is the fact that, hey, the game really needs a FOV slider. Yes, a field of view slider. All too often you find that the gun models are way too big and they block absolutely everything, especially when you're reloading. The rifles and the machine guns will take up all of your screen when you reload. You'll be able to see that here as this video plays through. Beyond that, I do think the graphical options are more than sufficient for this game. So, I will say, speaking of graphics, that the game looks absolutely gorgeous, and even when I got up really close to the walls and such, and looked at some of the textures and models that were spread about, everything actually looks really good close up, too. So, hey, Tripwire, you guys did good there. So, how about the gameplay itself? Well, the gameplay is pretty damn fun. Some of you might know that I do have a damaged right hand, so anything that requires rapid mouse movements or rapid this and rapid that, it can cause extreme pain in my hand. And unfortunately, typically I put games down after a short period of time. So, with Killing Floor 2, I found that I tended to kind of ignore the pain up to a point. And I muddled through and kept playing. I mean, I actually had a lot of fun playing it, which is really weird. Now, my opinion says that the actual gameplay mechanics as a first-person shooter are awesome. Unfortunately, I haven't played a real first-person shooter since Battlefield 3. So yeah, my information might be a little bit dated. I mean, hell, that's years since that game was released. Oh well. So yeah, gameplay is pretty solid. One thing I will say is you will find that you're doing a lot of button spamming. because a lot of the weapons do not have an auto fire function. So that is a bit of a pain in the ass. Yes, I said ASSS. By the way, this is a mature rated game, so if you are, oh hell, if you're under 17 years old, you should not be watching this. You need to turn this off and or get your mother or father's permission before watching this. Okay. Kitty's left the room. Good. Alright, now that that's said, guess what, guys? If you love blood, gore, and guts, you will see plenty of it. I mean, absolutely plenty of it. You may even hear one of the guys I'm playing with there in the background talk about NVIDIA and the way that the intestines render is absolutely beautiful. He uses some more choice words, but I left those in there for your listening pleasure. I'm not real sure when he says it, but yeah, it's pretty funny. Also, some people were having some mic issues. I don't know what is up with that, but hey, if you guys run into those issues and you find fixes, definitely let me know in the comments so we can get that information out there and everybody can run that properly. So yeah, back to the actual gameplay mechanics. So like most first-person shooters, you do have a standard layout of weapons. You have knives, you have rifles, you have grenades, you have all kinds of good stuff. And then as the waves progress and you beat them, you gain money and you can buy, of course, more weapons. You buy them at a kiosk type thing that opens up when each wave finishes. You'll have you have about a minute and 30 seconds to actually buy your upgrades once that kiosk opens up. Beyond that, I will say it's a bit of an annoyance, the fact that your weapons when you're not zoomed in do not have crosshairs. That's probably just me getting old, and it's like, hey, give me a little white pointer that I can use to point towards the enemies, but you know what, it's not a big deal. Once you learn how to fire all the weapons and learn how to zoom in and all that good stuff, it really isn't a big problem. You'll find very quickly that you're racking up huge headshot scores, so that's pretty cool. Also, with as far as gameplay mechanics go, and this starts to go into game design, the map layouts are pretty cool. My favorite map so far has to be a map called Burning Paris. The layout of the map is pretty expansive. You get areas you can fight on the streets, you've got areas where you can fight inside buildings, and you've got areas where you can fight underground in like the subway areas. So maps are very expansive, but don't expect there to be anywhere to hide. The developers have done a very good job at allowing enemies to pretty much spawn and come in, or basically approach you from just about anywhere you can think of. In this video, you'll actually see me firing off towards some enemies that are coming in from one direction, and all of a sudden I'll call it a zombie for lack of a better word at the moment, basically comes falling in from this vent I'm standing behind. Thankfully landed right in front of my fire and was able to take it out. But it's really nice that the enemies do actually come in from many different directions and can spawn in from just about everywhere. This really has you on your toes while you're trudging through these levels and you're trudging through the insanity that is this game. So when talking about level design, like I said, levels seem to be hashed out pretty well. I didn't really notice anything that was worth bitching about. Now, character design is pretty good. I will say something that I find a little bit funny. It's not really problematic. Like most first-person shooters, when you equip your knife and you use the sprint key of some sort, you find that you actually move faster. In the case of this game, what happens is you equip the knife, you do move faster. Your character's arms start flailing back and forth like they're trying to fly away. In most cases, the arms are moving faster than the legs. So devs, if you see this, you may want to slow down those arm animations just a tad bit. It reminds me of those speedwalkers you see going down the street that are just kind of flailing their arms along their sides as they're moving at an extremely fast walking pace. Yeah. Oh, man. Now, mob design. Absolutely awesome. I do feel... I'm not going to say they stole ideas from other games, but I do think they definitely got some very strong inspiration from other games that follow this similar recipe. You'll see this in the fat mobs they call bloats in this game. They definitely remind you of some some fat mobs in another game like Left 4 Dead. Yeah, I don't want to say that too loud. I never actually played Left 4 Dead, but I have seen plenty of videos, so you do get an idea of what the mob types are. Nevertheless, the bloats are really cool. They come like just kind of slothing towards you and spewing their creamy, gooey green center all over you. Yeah. The other thing that's pretty cool is they've got these black spider-like mobs that come towards you, and if you're listening to the sound, they're pretty easy to figure out where they are. But you need to look down to see them. All too often you're paying attention to the other stuff that's walking towards you, and you don't realize that these things are down there just gnawing your ankles in half. Something else that can be a real pain in the tail is while all the gunfire is going off and all these other mobs are rushing your position, they've got another mob type that stays pretty much invisible until they get close to you. There is some kind of weird aura that you can see occasionally, but sometimes, you know what, there's just so much action going on, you don't see this stuff until it's up in your face. This stuff makes for some wonderful jump scares, though, so, hey, that's cool. Oh, the other thing that adds to that jump scare factor quite a bit, some of the areas are intentionally very dark, and they work very well in the game's favor for creating a really eerie and nasty atmosphere. Now, I do need to actually go ahead and point out some issues with the game itself. Currently, server or finding a server that's up and running can be a little bit of a pain in the tail. You do need to set your settings pretty vague to get into any games. Otherwise, you get these error messages that say can't find server matching your criteria. Overall, the community in a lot of these servers are pretty nice, although I did run into a bunch of idiots earlier that were on a public server. And they intentionally started the game and then decided to start yelling at me because I decided to join this game. Well, keeping in mind that I used the random options to find the server, I got into a game where some people felt that this public server was their domain, and they kept bitching and complaining until I left. Why were they bitching and complaining? Well, because there was 4 of them, and the Loon decided to take up that random slot. Yes, that's right. I was randomly put in that server, and they were bitching because I took up a spot that they were reserving for their friend on a public server. Yeah, you'll find this, unfortunately, in most multiplayer games. So, just expect to deal with that nonsense, especially when the kiddies are playing. Overall, though, I gotta say the community that I've run into and bumped into in all the games are pretty nice. Which is a good thing because this game is very team-orientated. If you get into a match where a teammate runs off and wants to do his own thing, or many teammates run off to do their own thing, you will not win. However, if you get a team that decides they know what they're doing, or at least make an effort to know what they're doing, and make an effort to work as a team, the game gets, I won't say easy because it's still difficult, but the game does get better, and it definitely becomes a lot more fun to run around and play. Yeah, that video being broadcast in the background, I was lucky enough that when I recorded that, I got some really, really good people in team. I will give a shout out to the guy that's using some language, which, hey, once again, if you are not 17, you should not be watching this video. Yeah, but I'll give a shout out to ex-Cowboy. Him and the other guys in that team were absolutely awesome. A lot of us really didn't know what the hell was going on. We had all been installing it and checking it out for the first time. But guess what? We worked as a team and we won. We kicked some zombie ass. Hell yeah. So problems. Well, beyond finding a server, there's not too many bugs I noticed. Graphically, the game seems to run very smooth. Field of view is definitely a major issue. However, as long as you're not getting sick playing the game, I definitely say that's not an end-all killer to the game itself. So, will I recommend this game to you? Oh, definitely. If you like zombie survival type games, definitely check this out. If you were a big Left 4 Dead fan, definitely check this out. Hey, if you were a Resident Evil fan, check this out. Some of the mini bosses definitely harken back to some of the epic stuff we saw in the Resident Evil series. Currently, at the time of this recording, there is still time left on the free trial, so I will implore you guys to go ahead and check that out. I'm not sure what the system requirements are, but if you can run this, definitely give it a shot because it is worth your time. Now, currently the game is also on sale for $20 US. You will have to convert that if you live somewhere outside the US. Oh, that thing I said I would bitch about earlier. Yeah. Okay, so the game is $20 US. That is for the standard package. The game is still in early access and they have downloadable content for sale already. Devs, do not release this stuff until your game is completed. I love Killing Floor 2 and I wanted to give you guys 5 stars, but I have to give you 3.26578. Yeah. I give you that many because overall the game is excellent. It would get 5 stars, but I hate to see downloadable content on early access games. Gosh. Okay, guys, so I've ranted and raved long enough. This game is definitely worth your time to check out. So until next time, guys, be safe out there. Go ahead and subscribe, share my videos with the world. And just be safe. All right, I've got to go see a man about a dog. Take care.